games for you now as a manager, and so many times over 20 years we've seen you come up with a game plan which has had a huge impact on a match. I know you've touched on it a bit there, but just tell us a bit about the game plan today. And do you think this sort of challenge brings the best out in you as a coach?
We are analysing deeply each match, and we played 10 days ago against Manchester City and we lost 4-1. But we were trying to understand a lot of things we did good, but we needed one step ahead, doing something better. And today was the example. We used this match to try to improve and to try to learn about this match.
Can you tell us what that something is? That something from City that you did today?
Firstly is defence. Defence is strong, defence strongly. The small details in defence as well, small spaces, try to be narrow, to be inside, try to avoid at the beginning line passes, and then be compact with the players. And more or less was the first idea we had in our game plan today. And then was try to get our time as well with the ball, keeping ball possession, trying to avoid their press, trying to do passes and being patient, and we did. First half we did better the second half, and progressively we impose our positioning as well the second half better than the first half.
What does the result mean to you personally coming back here to Arsenal?
It's not a revanche. It's for Aston Villa, and it's because we had 60 points, and with those points we have 63, and we are closer to be in the top 5. This is the only objective I had before the match, and of course Arsenal to win here then is very difficult because they are doing amazing season, and I think they are very difficult to lose here, to create chances here against them is being very difficult. And of course I am very proud of our work, of how the player they were focusing and being demanding themselves to get it, and I'm very proud for it.
Lastly, does this feel like a big step towards Champions League football? Your result, but also the other results that have gone your way this weekend.
Yes, but today the 3 points we played is the same point we played last week against Brentford, and we were winning 2-0 and then we draw. The same point. And the same point we are going to play next Saturday against Bournemouth. And if we are not then being consistent like we are today, we can lose. And of course, this is the demand, and this is the level we want to face and to fight against things like today. But even against Brentford, even against Bournemouth, and this is the way, and this is as well sharing with the match we are going to play on Thursday as well, very difficult in Lille.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Well, Miguel, obviously a lot of focus on the result, which is a hammer blow, but it all comes back to performance in the end. What did you make of the performance?
Well, two very different ones. The first half, superb, and one of the best halves that we have played against a top team. Should have been 3 or 4 or more, I don't know. You don't put that scoreline and you don't reflect on that in the second half. We lack momentum. Didn't happen a lot of things, but we didn't have the flow that we had in the first half, and then we conceded 2 very, very poor goals.
So how did they take that momentum away from you?
Well, credit to them, because in the first half we had a lot. We were a bit imprecise with the ball. We didn't have enough sequences in the right areas to do what we did in the first half. We're struggling to regain the ball as well in the areas that we did in the first half, and that's it. And then we lost it, and you have to congratulate the opponent.
So if you look back at key reasons, do you actually look back at not being clinical first half, not being 3 or 4 ahead like you said you deserved?
For sure. And when you are at this level, you have to punish them. It's not like you're going to do that for 90-95 minutes against a top opponent. And we haven't done that. At least don't concede again the goals that we have.
Do you think it began to play on minds, the fact that you hadn't got the goals your performance warranted?
Well, I don't know. That's more a question for the players that are there, but that's always in football the case, you know. And then you have to be sometimes a bit more patient than we were in the second half to find our moments, and we're trying to do that as well with the changes. That's when we concede the goal.
I was going to ask you about the changes, particularly taking off Martin Odegaard, who was a big influence on the game first half. you're thinking?
Yeah, because he had a little issue. That's why.
Okay. How important now? You've talked about being emotionally stable. You said that in midweek when you were behind in the game. How important now is emotional stability? There's going to be a lot of noise. City at the top now. How do you cut through that?
But we cannot control that. What we can control is when you have the run that we had and you win, 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 and you draw, and you win. Easy to be a leader, easy to stand up, easy to stand here, easy to be around with the flow. Is now. The moment is now. After this blow, how we react, we have the best opportunity to react on Wednesday night against Bayern Munich. And now the team has to show it, and now we have to make sure that we react in the way that that if you want to win, you have to expect to overcome these situations.
So is that for you as well? Big voices, leaders, like you say, when you're winning and winning and winning, that's one thing.
It was going to happen at some stage. With the games that we have, it was going to happen. Now how we react to that, that's going to be the key.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time you blinked since New Year's Eve, really. Is there a danger it becomes bigger in the players' heads than it actually is? You start thinking about last year and what's happened in the past.
But what you can control is how you're going to feel now, the way you talk now, the way you react, and the way you look ahead of what is happening on Wednesday. And this is in our control.
It never feels good to be behind Man City. They've got obviously a great record of finishing things off. Is that another thing to shut out?
Yeah, but we cannot control that.
Still possible.
With the amount of games that you have won in a row in any other league in the world, you are 6 or 8 points clear. It's not the case now, and this is the challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mikhail.
Well, as he said, results earlier in the season, in pretty much any other league or in most seasons that haven't had this vintage Manchester City side, they would be clear and they would be on their way to a Premier League title. But it is so tight at the moment. Paul, you said earlier you think that's it for Arsenal. With 6 games to go, they're 2 points off the lead. Why do you think it's all over?
Because they're chasing the best team in the world down. The best team in the world who've done it year in, year out. It's not, you know, they reel off. When was the last time they got beat, Man City? What is it now? They haven't lost at home for 40-odd games.
Unbeaten in 17.
Unbeaten in 17. They just reel them off. It's not like we're sitting here and we're going, oh, I wonder how Man City will be this season now with the rest of the games. They'll reel them off. They will reel them off. I'd be shocked.
It's not squeaky bum time.
Not for them. They will just keep on playing and playing and wiping teams away, in my opinion. If it was someone else they were chasing down, every chance. But I've seen this team too many times. They're bang out of luck, Arsenal. You know, they're chasing the last season and this season. They're chasing one of the best teams ever to play football.
Yesterday morning, Manchester City, according to Opta, had a 41% chance of winning the Premier League title. After their win over Luton, Arsenal's defeat by Aston Villa, Liverpool's defeat by Crystal Palace, Manchester City now have, according to Opta, a 70% chance of winning the Premier League come the end of the season. Is that how you would assess it, Colo?
Of course, they have an advantage, I will say, but I still think that the season is not finished yet. You know, of course, City are used to be in that kind of situation where they can keep winning games after games, and then the players, because they're so used to that, they know how to emotionally control themselves, and that's an advantage. They have a manager who done it as well so many times. But I think this season is different. This season is very challenging. Liverpool is there, Arsenal is there as well. Of course, the result is a blow for those two teams, but I will say it's not finished yet. You know, they have just to focus on themselves, keep winning the games. You know, City is very strong, but you still have some games to go. Don't use your emotion right now. There's no time to use your emotion. Just keep focusing yourself, believe in yourself, and go right at the end of the season.
Is there a danger, Jamie, that Liverpool and Arsenal approach the rest of the season thinking we're not going to catch this Manchester City side, rather than doing what Colo said and think there's still 6 games to go? There is a chance that Manchester City drop points, and you have to be in the position to take advantage if that does happen.
Yeah, certainly for Arsenal, history will play its part. They will have the demons of last season. I think they had 71 points last year. They got 75 this season. So in fact, sorry, 75 last season, 71 this season. So, in a way, they haven't really improved in that respect. But they have to just find a way. The manager said it, but it's all right saying it. You've got to actually do it, and that's the thing. He's got to come in tomorrow morning and try to lift everyone, make sure that, you know, you always put on a bit of an act. We're going to be all right. We have to go to Germany. We've got to make sure we get a result there, make sure the weekend we're ready to go again. It isn't going to be easy, but you've just got to work on the basis that City maybe drop points, and everything is still possible. But they've got to lift their heads up. They've got to show passion, and they've got to somehow get themselves back into it. Of course, it's not going to be easy. As Paul said, they're chasing one of the best teams in the world down. But stranger things have happened. Look at today. We'd never predicted these two results, and this has happened, and anything can happen in football.
Yes. The big advantage is they play before Man City again. They play next week against Wolves. They win that, they're back top of the league again. Big advantage. If Man City would have played before them, then they'd have gone 5 points clear, and then you start... But it all comes down to the Wednesday night. It's a big football match Wednesday because, you know, we just see how it affected Liverpool, the Atlanta game, and it did. I don't care what anybody says, it does affect you, and, you know, it's how you pick yourselves up because it's a grind. You know, they've done so well, and to get to here today and just, I don't know, it's just... You can't miss chance. It's just, yeah, it's what's meant to be is meant to be. And I just, today with Liverpool and Arsenal, it just wasn't their day. It wasn't their day.
Arsenal go to Munich, as you say, on Wednesday, all square with Bayern Munich in the quarter-finals, second leg of the Champions League. They're 2 points behind the league leaders Manchester City with 6 games to play, and yet there is a real sense of disappointment at the Emirates. Let's get Declan Rice's reaction. He's with Patrick Davison.
Well, Declan, obviously in the days ahead, the job's going to be to pick yourselves up again, but right now, how much does it hurt?
Yeah, it's tough, really tough to take, especially with the chances that we had in the first half and what we created in the space that there was. We had to take one of them, and we didn't. And in the Premier League now, you know, every game's tough and teams can come back to bite you and hurt you, and you know that's what Villa done in the second half.
The first half, with the way you'd played, could you see what happened second half coming at all?
No, of course not, because we've been so dominant in games. But like I said, Villa have got some unbelievable players. Technically unreal. Ollie obviously up top, who's a constant goal threat. So we had to stay on it. And if you can't win games of football, don't lose. You know, you look up at the clock and you see there's 15 to go. It's 0-0. You know, if you ain't going to win the game, you take a point, especially in these situations. And to now lose and not take anything is a real kick in the teeth.
But is that the stage of the season kicking in? You're thinking at 0-0, we've got to win it.
Yeah, of course, we want to win every game, absolutely. You know, this is Arsenal for one. You know, you feel the pressure that you have to win these football matches, and we put the pressure on ourselves. You know, we knew today going into it that it was nothing but 3 points, and we obviously didn't get that in the end, which is obviously disappointing. But it's time now for a reaction, you know, starting on Wednesday night.
Yeah, the manager's just been in and said exactly that. It's one thing when you're winning and you're winning and you're winning. Now is a time for leaders. Now I would suggest it's a time for big character like you.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think since January no one would have predicted this run we've gone on. It's obviously come to an end today. It's not ideal, but sometimes, you know, these are the things that you need again to reset, to refocus, and I still feel like there's going to be loads of twists and turns to go. Obviously, we're in a three-horse title race with 2 unbelievable sides. But as you can see today with the other results, Premier League can throw up anything, and we can only control what we're going to do. Obviously, we didn't do that today by not winning, but in the next, I think, 6 games, we can control that. So, look, 6 finals to go in the Premier League, and we will give it everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it.
Well, you can tell understandable disappointment. We heard it from Mikel Arteta. We've heard it there from Declan Rice. But what do they do now? How do these Arsenal players pick themselves up ahead of, you know, as Paul was saying, a huge game against Bayern Munich in midweek and 6 more Premier League games to go between now and the end of the season?
I think you just have to focus on your performance. As a player and as a team, the only thing you can really do is to make sure that you perform well. And when you're performing well, you're giving yourself more chance to win football matches. And don't get affected by the results, because you're not far from the end of the season. There's crucial games now. The only thing you need to do, perform well, give your best in every single game. Try to be clinical to solve goals, because that's what was missing today. Apart from that, I think Arsenal has been fine for all season. Don't put too much stress on you. You know you're playing against some of the best team in the world, because the Premier League is one of the best league in the world. you just have to just express yourself the best as you can, and see what happened at the end of the game. No stress at all. There's no point to have stress right now.
Carlo, when you look at, say, what Arsenal have done of late, they would have kept us settled, certainly back four, Kivior playing left back, and Ben White right back, and the two centre-backs, Saliba and Gabriel, and he changed that today. Do you think that can have an impact when you're on a great run and you're winning games consistently? Do you think that sometimes can affect the balance of the team and the shape?
Yeah, we say, because as a player, the more you play with your teammates, the more you have a connection with them. And then you understand each other without looking each other, really. But they do training as well, and then they've been playing games together as well. They must know each other. They must connect to each other better. For me, I think the first half was really good for Arsenal today. They should have scored a goal. They didn't. Second half, panicked a little bit, didn't create enough chances. And then they played against a really, really good side, Aston Villa. And Aston Villa can beat any team in this league.
Yeah, but a couple, not even 2 weeks ago, they were getting blown away at the Etihad, literally blown away 4-1.
Yeah,
this is the standard you get to. Do you know what I mean?
And yet Arsenal have taken 4 points off Manchester City this season.
They've done the hard work. They have done the hard work, and that's the disappointing thing. You can see with Declan Rice there, the players know. They know, it was in their hands. They had it in their hands. There's nothing worse than it not being in your hands.
Well, I hope they're not listening to you tonight, Murph, because if they are, they're giving up. They're down in salt. They've got to keep believing, though, haven't they?
I'm just telling you, you want me to be honest. I'm telling you, be honest. Be honest. If it wasn't Man City, don't worry, there wouldn't be a worry. There wouldn't be that much of a worry. Then you just... There's nothing worse than being in your own hands. Do you know what I mean? And it's out of their own hands now. And when you've got that, and there's only 6 games to go, and if you look at Man City's fixtures, let's be honest, they're not the hardest in the world.
Brighton away, Nottingham Forest away, Wolves at home, Fulham away, Tottenham away, and West Ham at the Etihad on the final day of the season, should it go down to the final game of the season. Do any of you see Manchester City slipping up between now and the end of the season?
In the next 10 days, Arsenal go to Bayern Munich, to Wolves, and then they play Chelsea at home and Tottenham away in 10 days. That's a big ask. That's a big ask after today. After today, that's a big ask.
But they are winning. They can win those games.
Yeah, they can. They
can win those.
But it's now they can win all them games, and it still won't. Do you know what I mean? It's a worry that they've gone and done what they did last season in a way for me. I really see it, like I said before the game, I hope this don't come to bite. Never change something that isn't broken. Never. That's the worst thing you could ever do. Change something that isn't broken, and that's what they did today. They had a team that was rolling along, wiping the floor with everybody. Went to Brighton and destroyed Brighton.
You called it before the game.
And today they didn't. And, I'm worrying. As a manager, I was a manager in a lower league, but there's no better feeling looking around on the bench and going, he can change the game, or he can change the game. He'd have come in at half-time today, when that game at 0-0 and gone, I've used all my aces.
I trust I don't know. He started.
Yeah, Jesus. He started. And as I say to Gary, he's playing as a centre half. 70 minutes gone, Jesus comes on like he did against Bayern Munich, and he's jinking, and and Trossard comes on and both-footed, go that way. Wasn't that? There wasn't that today. And the longer the game went on, but I know it was about them two teams today, Arsenal and Liverpool, but Aston Villa and Crystal Palace were phenomenal, and that's why this is the best league in the world, because these teams don't come and get their stomachs tickled. Other leagues, they do. This league, they don't. They come to win football matches.
That's why you have to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I think the worst thing Arsenal can do is just thinking, like, oh, it's done now. And then City struggle, maybe make a draw, anything happen, and then they feel, oh, we could have done better there. Just focus on yourself. Just focus on yourself until the end of the season, and then you see what happened. But, if you don't win your games because you're thinking negatively after a result against Aston Villa, which is one of the best teams in the country right now. If the manager is coming back here, he's been in Arsenal before, he wants to show something as well. And they were brilliant, Aston Villa, today. Defended very, very well, make it really hard for Arsenal. But Arsenal just keep going, keep pushing.
And they've still